Hey, what's up? Welcome back to The Wealth Mindset. So today I'm going to be taking a look at this video on home ownership and America's growing wealth gap. And this is from CNBC. Make it. I'll leave a link to this one in the description. But, rich are getting richer and the poor are just staying the same or just getting worse. So I want to see what the perspective is, though, because I don't think that's necessarily like, oh, the rich people are just like taking everything. It's the whole system, right? I think it's really about kind of understanding the game, how everything works, and then going out there and doing something about it, right? Putting yourself in the other side, the side that's gaining wealth. And I think it's possible. It's not just, so easy to say. I mean, I think it is possible. You hear stuff all the time. People coming from nothing, right? They immigrated here, got nothing, and then they got a whole lot of stuff, right? And then they're in the other boat, right? With assets and with things that are growing in value all the time. So let's take a look at this and see what they got.
Home ownership is seen as the most effective way to build generational wealth, with the average homeowner having a household wealth of $231,000, compared to the average renter having a household wealth of just $5,200.
Damn, okay, that's a big difference. $5,000 to $200,000, come on. Having a house, and I agree, at least having a home, right? I don't even look at that as an investment off the bat because it's not making you any money. But yeah, it's helping you save money. It's growing in value. As they're printing money all the time, this is something that maintains its value or just keeps going up, right? With inflation, with all that going on, it's just going up. And now they add interest rates, they add a bunch of stuff to it. That having that home makes a big difference. And if you don't ever get into that game, unless you have other ways to invest it, it's not just the home. It's really, if you looked at other ways to build wealth, it's possible out there. I mean, people do stocks all the time. Stocks will get you there. You don't have to get into a house. But I think a house is the simplest thing to understand, right? Hey, I need a home. Shoot, I live here. Might as well buy something that grows in value or just helps me build wealth. And people don't do anything else. But there are other ways. People do like a business. And, with real estate, if you're just trying to buy a home where you live and it's just too expensive, there's other ways to get into real estate too. I mean, people do like REITs, right? You go online, you buy a stock that invests in real estate, or you invest like out of state. You don't have to invest exactly where you live, but the idea is there's plenty of ways. And if you're willing to look into it, I think you can still get in the game and build wealth for yourself.
It has a lot to do with today's frameworks and a lot of the structural barriers, discriminatory barriers, redlining, issues in communities, and also issues with access to credit in our housing finance systems.
Dude, if you can't get a mortgage, you're done. There's nothing you do. Like, you're so done. You can't play that game. But they're allowed to do that in it still? Because that's crazy. If they're still allowed to do anything like that. But I mean, it's hard. It's hard for everybody. These days getting a loan, it's no joke. You got to have like everything in order, like all your credit, your reserves, your DTI, everything is tough. And then there's competition. So I hope it's not just discrimination. That I hope folks look into it, because if it is, they got to do something about that. I'm pretty sure, most banks, dude, if you are feeling like you qualify, your credit and your income, everything is good, and then you are not getting the loan, if you go shop a couple banks, because some banks are conservative. Like try banking at Wells Fargo. It's crazy. Like, they're super conservative, so it happens. But if you shop around and it's still like that, you gotta do something about that.
The real estate agent explained to my mother that she could not show my mom the home because we were Black. And she explained to my mom that if she were to show my mother that house, that she would lose her job.
Man, that's crazy. Man, that's rough. That's rough. How do you even get in the game when that happens? Man, when you can't even see the place. If someone even tried to show you, they'd lose their job, right? And there's all these barriers. You can't even see it, and you go see it. They're not even gonna sell it to you. Right? I'm sure the owners, some white owners, are gonna just, dang, that's crazy. So I think that one makes it tough. since back in 1960 and before that, right? 1960 it should have got better, but the gap got bigger. So I wonder what happened, man. Is it still happening, or is it just, they're doing it in different ways, so it's harder for them to get in? If you just try to do the home route, I mean, you could push. You got to push. You got to fight for it. You got to go for it, and you got to find somewhere that makes sense. But I mean, I think if it's something like that, I think I'm just thinking what I would do. I would basically go out there and find other ways. There, at least these days, there should be other ways. You start a business, and with stocks, and people. There's so many different hustles, right? People are creative. There's ways to get around this, but you can't let this stop you.
Redlining is a practice that was started in the 1930s by the Homeowners Loan Corporation, where neighborhoods would get color grades based on perceived mortgage security.
Yo, that's messed up. Oh man, if they play that game, because lenders and banks, they play a different game, right? They're trying to make money, but then if they start doing practices like these, I mean, that's why they came out with a bunch of policies, to stop this. But man, I mean, they say it's still happening, but I wonder, right? Like, what is it like now? Do they kind of like sneak that in somehow? That's tough, man. That's making it to how you gonna get in? How you gonna play this game? It's tough to play this game, and this is buying your own home. I'm imagining investments. Are you buying a home just to rent out?
We're not making loans in that neighborhood. In those days, it was that blatant. Like, we're not making loans below Upton Street.
Because they have policies like that now. Your bank, and they say, hey, we just don't do HELOCs. We don't do stuff for investment. We don't do, I mean, they can change the game. They can change the rules, right? Depending on the market and the situation. Some I understand, but man, if they snuck stuff like this in, where you can't get a loan because you're in a certain block, like, they don't say it like that, but now they can't say it like that. But back then, they tell you to your face, like, yeah, in that side of the town, we don't do loans. Wow, that's tough. So even if you got a place, and then you're trying to do something else, maybe grow, get more money, play the game, real estate game, and try to like get equity and do more stuff. Use the Burr method, right? And roll this into more real estate. You got no chance. How are you gonna do it? It makes it so tough unless you had the money straight up. And even then, it sounds like they discriminate, right? They're not even gonna show you a place. They're not gonna sell you a place. And even if they made, a bunch of law changes, I'm sure some of these guys are slow to change. And sometimes it's just that little bit of time. And real estate can get away from you. These prices go up fast.
By the 90s, subprime lenders started pushing adjustable rate mortgages, which are loans that typically start off with low interest rates and then drastically increase after just a few short years.
We saw payments increase.
Dang, see. Okay, so if you need money, or you're trying to do something, and you go to your bank and they only push subprime loans or adjustable rate mortgage loans, and they set you up that way, man, that's a setup. That's a big setup, because it might seem okay in the beginning, but you don't really know what's going on. Most people don't know what's going on. And if they weren't familiar with this kind of stuff, and I'm sure back then there's even less information out there, they get stuck with these deals. That's how you lose your place. And that's how they take some of this stuff away from you.
Between 2000 and 2013, more than 135,000 residents in 230 neighborhoods across the country were displaced from their homes due to gentrification.
I'm a little mixed on this one, because I think gentrification is, I don't know about gentrification. Okay, I think it's important for people to come in and to invest in neighborhoods, to update neighborhoods, to repair, to improve. It needs that. You can't just leave crap out there. It's just gonna fall apart, right? That's why you get these slums or these crazy areas. So I think that part is needed. But then I mean, because I think at the end, if you want that, right? You don't want your places to fall apart. You want a decent place. People come in, they put that investment. Investors expect a return, right? You're not just throwing money at this thing for nothing. Oh, I'm just charity. I'm just going to fix up your house. So if they want some kind of return on it, then prices are going to go up, right? Like in general, it will go up, but then it really depends on the market, right? If there's more demand, people are coming in. They're actually taking the time to improve these places. Some of these places are falling apart. It's nasty. I actually don't like that. Yeah, you want the rent to be the same price, and you don't want to get pushed out. But you can't just leave that place forever. It's nasty. It gets nasty. Like, so what is the balance? I don't know. I don't know, because some of these places, yeah, I understand with technology, tech companies, or just certain areas, people are just coming in, they want to live here, and then people see a demand, and then they start updating, making nice places, and then they see what the market rate is, right? Because a lot of these prices is not just, landlords just hiking up the prices. It's really dependent on the market. You look at everybody that's putting a new house out there to rent, and it's that price. That's the market price. No one can overcharge anybody. You can't just say, okay, historically it's a $2,000 unit, and I'm just going to put it for $5,000. No one's going to rent to you. $5,000 not the market rate. But then if you put it out there for $3,000, $4,000, and then there's a line of people that want to rent this place from you, then that's the market rate. That's not like someone's gouging people. Like, no, there's a line of people that are willing and able to pay this price. So I don't know. I don't know what the best thing is, because it's tough. Because if the rent goes up from $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000, and then maybe someone comes in, invests, and then the place looks great, right? But then they're expecting $4,000 rent. I know. How are people going to pay for that? I know. So they're going to get pushed out eventually. And man, it's a tough problem. I think one solution is, everybody needs to invest, right? They need to learn about investing. I know you're maybe just interested in your job, right? Like, you're focused on your job, making money, making an income. But then you got to realize a job really is not going to do it for you, right? It might pay the bills for now, but then later on in life, this is what we're talking about, right? You won't have any assets, you won't have any investments, you don't have nothing going on, and you're just a sitting duck, right? Waiting for gentrification to push you out, or something to happen, and then you're out in the streets. So I think that's what hit me. Like, I thought about it, I was like, my job, and I got a good, pretty, decent paying job, and dude, what if I get to, another 10 years, I get to 50, right? It's gonna be, and then they said, hey, your position, we eliminated your position. We're not gonna need that role anymore. Then it's gonna be a lot harder for me to find something that pays the same, right? So I know this. I know that's happening. It's coming. Why am I just gonna sit here and just, kill myself over just work myself to the bone over this job, and then at the end, there's like no guarantees, right? Actually, I'm in a bad shape when and if that happens.
And while their home value has increased significantly since 1985, Parker says refinancing is difficult because of his parents' retired income.
Man, that's okay. So I'm hearing that they got in early. It's good that they hung on. They went through all of the ups and downs, and they got a place, and they got a place that gives them income. So that's something I'm hearing right there. That is so important. That's like when you can you house hack a multifamily building, right? That's how you stay in the game. They stayed alive all this time. I'm sure that helped a lot. So I think that's an interesting game that most people got to think about. When you are out there, you think, I want to buy a home, right? I want to live nice. You want to live good, right? You want to be comfortable. But sometimes you got to look at your wallet, right? And you think about your future. Like, I know no one wants to live with other people. Why you want to deal with that? But it's such a good way to grow your wealth, right? You buy a place, a multifamily property, you live in one, and then you rent out the other ones. And the other ones, a lot of times, can cover that mortgage. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, that is like a free property. As long as you can come up with the down payment, you can get like a free property. And this allows you to increase your income.
According to experts, county assessors have historically overtaxed Black residents as a form of punishment for economic mobility. This practice of overtaxing Black residents has only gotten worse with the surge of gentrification.
Wait, what? Okay, that's messed up. They're trying to kill folks left and right. I see now. This is interesting because I'm learning all this stuff. I didn't know it was that bad. That if you are overtaxed, you're not allowed to get the loans. You're stuck in the area. Your property values are capped and redlined, and you can't get a new loan. You can't get more equity. Now you're talking about, and on this step where they overtax you, maybe I'm thinking your property tax, you're done. Even to stay in the game of investing, right? Investing in real estate, that tax is a big part of that number. If you're overtaxed, that could just wipe whatever cash flow you thought you were going to get, and you're done. Right, you're done. There's no point in holding on to this, at least as an investment. Maybe if you live here, You get income maybe, but dude, they looks like they killed neighborhoods, right? No one's gonna want to live there. So you're done. That's one thing where I'm thinking you got to spread your eggs out, not having all your eggs in one basket, because that's something I'm thinking about. If I just have all properties in San Francisco, that could be a concern, because we're known for making dumb decisions. We can make some decision with taxes or new laws or new regulations, stuff that goes on, and mess up either businesses, mess up the whole neighborhood. It could happen. So that's why I'm even thinking about investing out of state. If you don't have true investments that will pay you passive income, that gives you cash flow for the long way after you've retired, then you're still in the situation where things can happen and you don't have any new income coming in. You're just trying to like peel off any savings or 401k like until it's gone. Like, oh, it should last me, but just one bad year or just one big expense that comes up and you're done. Let me know your thoughts on this one. What do you think about all of this, right? How is it, this wealth gap? What are your thoughts? Is it just, people are just getting rich, the rich are getting richer, and then that's just the problem and that's it? Or, do you agree? You can do something about it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.